Welcome to Vikings and Valkyries, an actual play podcast. We are immersed in When the Wolf Comes, an RPG set in a parallel timeline where the Norse rule the sea and stars with restless fleets. My name is Ian Stewart Sharp, and I will be your one-eyed god for the campaign ahead, which we call the Thought and Memory Saga. And joining me to face their inevitable doom are Ed, Steve, and Bill. Welcome, one and all.
Thank you very much.
The crowd goes suitably wild. Are you all feeling a little despondent because we lost Jay at the end of the last episode, and obviously he's not back today to join us? But Bill, were there tears?
Liv, we hardly knew ye. It's deeply sad. I'm also quite sad about the fact that we've still got his body to deal with. This feels unnecessary. If the polar bear had finished eating him, I think we'd be in better shape. But
I think we've just got. We can just double up on the ritual throwing people off the cliff.
Respectfully, yeah. Okay, that's it. Maybe even in pieces, we could share the work, as it were.
Double the reward, maybe too. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's right.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, trying to eke out as much as you can possibly get. Well, as you've mentioned, you've kind of half set the scene there for our listeners. So let's dive back in. So, in the glow of the midnight sun, you see this emaciated polar bear, its once imposing form reduced to a heart-rending skeletal silhouette lying supine on the icy expanse. Its shallow breaths whisper of a harsh, forlorn existence, and you can only wonder how such a majestic beast came to be a maligned house pet. The creature is known as Snow White or Snorfitte in Old Norse, and it has beheaded and disemboweled two of your comrades, Bjarni Bjarnason, the man you were escorting, you were paid to escort on kind of death watch duty. You were taking him to the Atastupi, the Troll's Tongue, a place where people perform ritual suicide. Perhaps they throw themselves into the icy waters below rather than be a burden on the town of Haltmakar. Haltmakar, several hours away, you have trundled off into the tundra and met your fate, the toothsome fate by this polar bear. You've also been accosted by a large gentleman, perhaps 7 foot tall, with a braid dangling from his head. He carries a rich, ornate heirloom sword, and he swaggers towards you, having jumped off a skidvurg, this universe's version of a skidoo. He is joined by 2 bodyguards armed with what look like submachine guns, and he has hoved towards you, calling out combination of exclamations and shocked surprise and horror at finding what is presumably his bear, since it had a broken harness and was domesticated. And he is shocked to find that it has attacked and killed 2 people. And we will begin the session there. You all 3 were hastily beating a retreat in the direction of as far away from the bear as possible. But now you are called back to your senses by the cries of this Joffer, this local noble who you recognize as Finnbogi Ásbjarnarson. And over to you.
Well, I'm wondering if it's his bear and he gets loose and kills people. Feels like there ought to be either a debt of honor of some sort, or at least a debt of coin. I mean, there's bereaved families, for crying out loud. I don't know, what does everyone think? Is it just a case of, oh dear, my bear got loose? How terrible for everyone that it started eating people.
There's a lot of pondering going on as people obviously think about the potential repercussions of a bear. I don't think anyone's actually got the Norse code on Norse polar bear devouring and the repercussions thereof.
And I think the council we could acquire at the edge of the world is probably not the best. So you might want to reach
Seems
out.
there's so many ways for us to go wrong right now, and we're going to find several of them, I expect.
Yeah, Yomi thinks to himself that this seems like the perfect opportunity for a non-living, perhaps wheeled creature to approach the owner of the bear and says, "Wheeled thing, roll over and engage with the human."
Lexco says, "Let's go," and begins to slowly approach.
Yomi gestures to the Dulcafar to follow the wheeled thing.
Air waits a while for everyone to go on ahead a little bit, just mostly to prove a point, and then follows at a discreet distance.
So you have heard the Yofa Finnbogi, and I say Yofa. Yofa is an origin in this game that we're playing. It is effectively old style Viking. He's genetically engineered. He has illustrious forebears and the blood of the gods in his veins, and a lot of pride and pomp of a peacock as well. That tends to come with the territory of the Yofa. They are rich, they are often magnates, and they are often up their own backside a little. And you do get a sense of this as the Yofa says to you, "Didst thou use this old cove as bear bait? Is thou not thinkest to use flares?"
The flares again.
The bloody flares thing.
Obviously, in this part of the wilderness, it is well known that if you want to deter people from being rendered limb from limb by polar bears, the Isbjorn, then it probably is good to keep a flare or two in your satchel.
Lexco I wonders if we should have found an experienced trapper or something to help us before we set off.
Like the one we were carrying on your back.
Exactly.
Leomi thinks this is a good moment to express some curiosity. Excuse me, how would flares exactly work with a bear, a creature of this type, bear, a thing?
Dost thou mock me, sir? Thinkest me a poltroon and a dastard?
I'm new to this part of the world. I'm wise in many things, of course.
And Alpha, new to this world?
To this part of the world. Yome thinks to himself and leans down to the bot and says, "Perhaps you should give him a kiss."
I think that's a great idea. Lexco bends down submissively and says, "Please, sire, your honor, your highness, let me give you a kiss. Let us be friends."
What now? Away with thee, machine! I'll not have your oil and soil sullying my boots. Get away!
Oh.
Okay. Rude.
This poor fellow is a morsel of mooning now. Alas, pure Bjarni, I knew him well.
Perhaps you could assist us in taking his remains to the Troll's Tongue. That's where we were headed before we were interrupted by your pet. Leomi holds his breath while waiting to see if this attempt works.
On. As if I would get my hands dirty doing your foul work. And as to Snow White, it appears mine own bear hast taken injury. There will be were-guilt to pay.
Lexco has a question. Why don't you want to help us out? You just said he was your friend. How do you guys know each other?
That I know the man does not make him my friend. I was merely concerned for the fate of a fellow member of Hartmakar. There are so few of us. Now the swordfall has changed the weather for the worst. But I will not be interrogated by a tin can.
That exhausts me, I guess, if anyone else wants to ask questions.
The Yofa Finnbogi strides over to his bear, who is, as I said, cowering sullen in the snow. To see such a mighty beast cowed by being berated by this Yofa does send something of a shiver through your spines, or whatever passes for that in Dverg mechanical terms. But the Yofa is intensely berating the beast and gives it a good kick in its ribs, and it lets out a huff as it takes the punishment.
Yomi steps forward and says, "Is this any way to treat such a noble creature? I was told these beasts were honored. And how came it to be that it was running around loose? Have you so little control over your household?"
You accuse me of negligence now, sir? Will the insults never cease? I fear there is only one way to resolve our differences. Here and now we shall part, safe and sound, and meet again at the Thing, and there begin our quarrel all over again. The law speaker shall rule on how much weregilt you owe me for the inconvenience and the moronicy.
You killed our friend.
Moronicy.
Our companion was destroyed. One of
the joys of the Yofa's archaic speech is they are prone to just making up words.
Yes.
He could have said idiocy, but moronicy just seemed... It seemed more authentically Old Norse.
I didn't even notice it.
Will
we meet at the Thing then?
With something of a flourish of his ermine cape, he mounts his Skiderberg and twists the throttle and roars off across the tundra, his two bodyguards in tow, whooping and firing off shots into the air from their submachine gun. You remember that the sky is a vibrant blue because the sun never sets, but it is now the landscape is echoing with the sounds of shots fired. The bear Snow White lurches after them, called by them by a kind of invisible string.
Eric just kind of looks back and forth between the companions and goes, "What an eccentric performance." I assume that if we stood up to him, he would just escalate. It's really just nothing but hot air.
Yomi offers, I was worried that by questioning his control, I might have ended up in a duel right then and there. I think honor seems to be very important to a stuffed parka like that.
Lexico adds, he just seemed like an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, it comes with the territory of being one of the richest dudes in town. Now, I ought to explain, perhaps for you and listeners at home, that a thing is a kind of Norse assembly. It's a gathering, and fans of etymology out there would like to know that while we call something a thing today, like my phone is a thing, this glass is a thing, it actually originated as a sense of place, and it was then the thing at the thing, and things evolved from there. See how many times you can say thing in a sentence to confuse everybody. But ultimately, what we are talking about is a kind of folkmoot, a gathering where the Norse people will hear cases and settle disputes. Bear in mind that whilst this is the kind of Norse parallel present, because you're in effectively the wild north, the rule of law and order is kind of held together by these tribal institutions rather than say, a police force.
And okay, so a question: Who is the judge in the thing? Is it the local ruler, or is it a legal official of some kind?
There
Or?
will be a law speaker.
I see. So not a king as such. I think this current society doesn't really have that. So
there is the Empress Trumba,
right,
but
right.
Most of the really rich rulers actually are off-world on one of the other exoplanets, conveniently called Asgard. You're on Midgard, what we would call Earth, at least a century ago, when the various 9 homeworlds were discovered, and the ability to stagger between them using the greenways or the passage between Yggdrasil enabled people to go off-world. Then the rich people went and found the best parts of the best and biggest world and took them all for themselves, called it Asgard, and built whole new halls of glittering gold there.
Right, and so our problems with the local bear owner are unlikely to be on their radar.
Quite.
Yes.
Quite.
Yeah.
Quite.
By thing, I'm translating to kangaroo court in this case.
Yeah.
Possibly. Bear in mind, this is a society that is ruled by law, for whom, law is a crucial component of honor and integrity. Upholding the law and then failing to abide by the law is what gets you outlawed, cast off into the wilderness. So there are repercussions, despite the fact there is no real police force. They can't lock you up and hope that you see the error of your ways. They just chuck you out and then hunt you down.
Right. Because in Air's point of view, when someone is a entitled blowhard like that, it's because it quite often works.
Well, that was a dark interpretation.
It's entirely up to you how you proceed. You do have 2 fairly eviscerated corpses lying in front of you, and you're still a brisk height away from the troll's tongue.
Yomi gestures to the other 2. Let's scrape up the remains of our feckless companions, and you guys, you 2 carry them towards the troll's tongue, and I shall consider strategies and tactics to deal with our mounting set of problems.
You're on brain detail.
That's correct.
I've got a bag over here, and we'll see if we can find the squeegee.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, I agree with the proposal that we clean up what's left of our friends and we continue with our original mission. So we can come back and say we set out what we set to do, and then deal with problem number 2 and 3 and 4 after that.
Right. Yomi notes how important honor is to people in this society, and the reputations of themselves and their families. So I think to do the right thing, we certainly don't want Cliff's cast off degenerates coming after us later, if I may put it that way kindly. And
Ed, as far as Layska is concerned, are you happy to be the kind of pooper scooper, so to speak?
Yeah, I'll clean up. I'll get, don't eat the red snow, they say.
Not the first time he's gotten mucky, I wager.
Certainly not.
Not even today.
Not even today.
Not even the hour. I'm curious, the direction that they went off in. Do we see where they're going, or is it just horizon that they fall into?
No, so if you remember, you were headed out of town and you rolled an awareness check that also determined that the bear had followed you from town. And now they have roared back in that same direction. So they have gone right back to Helpmakar itself, which is the major town in the area.
Okay. Yeah, so let's carry on. Is there any way to fashion a flare out of the bits and pieces of our friends?
You could probably...
We'd have to render the fat down.
Yeah, by squeezing, you could probably get a bit more visceral fluid out, but nothing Nothing
Maybe-
really like a flare, no.
Okay, all right. Well, we can carry on.
If we
But I
capture some
do
methane-
appreciate because you are not, human. You are a machine. You are a diverg. That you probably just didn't know that, and well-meaning probably thought that you could squeeze something out.
Just context clues. Been hearing a lot about flares.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the journey will be long, boring, and arduous. So rather than wax lyrical about that, I will just allow a shimmer dissolve to the point where you have walked across the tundra along the coastal path to the Atastup, where you can now stand atop the 700-foot drop. The whole place has an eerie quietness that is punctuated only by the groaning of the shifting ice and the occasional squall of an Arctic turn. Feel free to pay your respects, say any last words, have an elegiac moment, or just ruminate about how this reminds you of your own centuries-old past in this case, because I know that Bill and Steve, your characters, are rather on the long in the tooth side.
Yomi steps forward and says, I have been reflecting on the deaths of our companions. Alas, unlikely to return to us in any form. I feel it's more important than ever to try and advance the general knowledge of our peoples, to help our brothers regain what they've lost. And I am more certain than ever that I need to find a way to join the Institute, and as well, perhaps at a deeper level, maybe even of personal growth. Cliff's death has taught me to be kinder to my companions and protect all life, no matter how paltry. And I address this next comment to Air, in that I know I have been referring to you as an abomination, and I feel this is inappropriate, and I want you to know that I'm no longer going to call you an abomination. Henceforth, I will refer to you only as an atrocity.
I'm impressed that you did get through that speech without someone pushing you over yourself.
I did consider trying to push Air just off the cliff rather than speak about him.
Well, thank you for such a thoughtful and elegiac address. It was almost as if you were at Gettysburg. We'll move on. Who else wants to say
400 score, and 20 years ago.
I'd like to follow on with the hopeful and ultimately naive words of my arboreal associate. Let's remember the names of our friends who have fallen. Let's remember who they are as they head to the afterlife, because those things are so transitory. I mean, I had a name once. I was a person of some renown, and none of it means anything now. I don't even remember my name. I don't remember my deeds, and no one else does. So it's just, and staying in the afterlife isn't just transitory as well. I've been dragged back here to this admittedly magnificent prison to wander the wastes while I wait for this experiment, this atrocity to come to an end and return to the afterlife. But yes, let's remember their names, because the world will forget it all too soon. Yes, it's a special day for them.
I feel that between the two of you could just be yelling off the cliff top, bleak, blank, despair!
But that.
moving on to Ed. Now, despite the fact that Ed, you've had a little bit of laryngitis or strep throat or something horrible in your human form. Hopefully you can grind your gears and come out as your divergish self.
Just like to say that, In these worlds, in these parts, life comes and goes as the wind. We only have so much time before time is given back to us or taken away. And, I don't know where I'm going with that. I'll dump them.
You're just dumping the bodies at the end of that sentence.
Lomi steps on the moment a little bit and says, "Is that your battery warning light that's coming on at the back there that I see?"
I do think between you, obviously with last episode we heard about the Happy Death Day cards, and we had Val Toki, the dwerg. He was giving you a range of merchandise. Perhaps it did inspire you, or perhaps you could do your own version now, of Hallmark cards for people that you're going to chuck off the Troll's Tongue.
Ooh.
Lomi steps forward to the challenge. "Happy Death Day. So sorry you could not bear the bear. May the snows and the gods bear you to a better life."
Roses are red, violets are blue. Everything's bleak. You're dead.
Mine's a pop-up card of a polar bear coming at you.
Very good. Very good. Well, as the scene fades away, you can almost hear the violins as the bodies pirouette into the icy depths below and disappear beneath the waves. Their kind never to be seen again. And now it is back to you as to how you would like to proceed. You expect that you have some kind of legal troubles on the horizon. So please do tell me what you would like to do.
Are we expected to return back to the diagnostician to report in? I think we were.
If you want your pay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a great big yes.
Yeah.
There's also the general challenge that you are, on this icy archipelago of Heimslet, literally the edge of the world. There's not too many places to just go hang out.
I think we should go back to the mine. I think that I'm curious as to what else might be going on there. And as I am the de facto leader of the team,
this again.
I think that's pretty much a decision made, since we've dealt with the what would one call them, the awful, no, that's not right, the remains of our companions. I also think we should try and find another one of these things. They have their uses, if only putting them in front of charging bears.
You talk about Dverg?
No, I'm talking about humans.
Oh, humans.
Yeah.
Sure. Just to bear in mind that there were just 7 Dverg down that mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7 polar bears we could deal with.
Well, yeah, I don't know. They seem to run pretty fast based on our companion. So I'm not sure. We want some.
We may have to trip them.
That's true, or flatten a tire or two. Anyway, or we find some older, weaker humans again, and just sort of keep, because we're out of flares. We never had any flares, and now we're out of humans.
Yeah, so no flares from that.
No flares from that. Good try though. Yes. Well, any other ideas?
Looking out on the horizon of the edge of the world, do we see anything interesting? Is the abyss calling back to us in any way?
No, you just look out at what is called the Hell Sund, or the Hell Strait.
Sounds good.
That is an expanse of water that leads all the way back to, if you travel all the way through the pack ice, you would end up in merry old England.
Oh.
This part of the Hell Sund is warmed by the currents to the east of the archipelago. The whole sea has transformed to sea ice and formed an ice bridge all the way through to what would be, in our world, northern Russia or Finland. So other than the odd wheeling seabird or idling walrus, a breaching whale, perhaps, then there's not much more to see. There is, of course, the glowing red cross that still unnervingly dominates the sky above your heads. When we were talking about it in the previous episode, Bjarni referred to it as the Northern Lights, and bid you clap wildly. But yes, that red shimmering field is still up in the bright blue sky like a crimson scar.
So, what say you, fellows? Quick stop to see the Seven Diverg, and then back to town. We need some flares.
Yeah.
Those the things.
Flares.
The flares.
We could
and
Some flair, maybe a couple boas
We can pick
for
up-
us and stuff.
weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons might also be good. Somebody has guns, though. Who has guns? You
I have a
people.
gun.
You had
Well,
guns.
Halif had guns. Halif the horse gilder.
Let's
He was the one with the rifle. And I'm going to be lenient and suggest that you picked it up when you picked the remains of him up, and didn't just leave your only weapon, lying in the tundra.
Even if we had forgot it, it would be quite easy to spot the large red splash on the snow. I'm thinking.
Sure. If you retraced your bloody footprints.
Yes, exactly. We're not complete fools.
Mine number 7. Several miles back down the track, the entrance surrounded by wooden scaffold, and you remember there was a pump that was taking out the excess meltwater that would have flowed into the mine. It had clogged and choked to a halt, but now it's been fixed and is running like clockwork.
Well, it provides us with negotiating power if the people down below turn out to be not as friendly as we need. So you're thinking flares, and
Ask them if they have flares or other things we might.
failing that, some people to help us with potential bear problems.
Yes, a bear buffer, if you will.
Suitably motivated. Yeah.
Yes. Old and slow, preferably.
So the very happy foreman was a diverg called Wetcret, and his associate Rotpulse. There were a bunch of them, but none of them appear to be in the mine shaft now. Perhaps they have returned to help Makar at the end of their shift for recharging. There is nothing suitable in terms of flares or weaponry in the mine. There are some kind of pneumatic drill bits, but Diverg, seeing in the infrared spectrum, don't really need flares. And because Diverg are also kind of not the tastiest morsels for the Ispion. In fact, their electronic beeping tends to unnerve and fend off Ispion. And it's a marvel that Legsko wasn't able to conjure up that himself to scare off Snow White.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry.
Yeah. Why
If only you had exposed yourself, Ed.
The one time I don't.
Normally that's your go-to, right?
None of your
My
go-to.
go-to,
Yeah.
It's the only thing I got.
Yeah.
You
Literally
could
a
have flashed
dick
the
move.
bear, and things would have ended differently.
And just think, we don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's enough to stop an ice bear in its tracks.
That's right.
That's why we all look away.
Yeah.
So that's on my Tinder profile.
Yeah. It's your famous dick move. I've said
Anyway.
that 3 times, but it kept getting stomped on. So there you go.
All right. Well, you're welcome to shelter in the mine or rest in the mine.
I think we should just head back to town. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's do it.
That was sounding
If
more
there's
like
nothing in the mine.
like Tayomi. Yeah, there's nothing much to be had here. I don't know
All
whose
right.
idea this was, but it was a complete waste of time.
Question that Air would have, and it may be an internal question. Mines like this, would these 7 miners here, do they own it themselves, or would they typically be working for someone?
The Diverg class are often thralls, a kind of slave mechanical class put into servitude. They would undoubtedly be working for other people. Rumor has it that Finnbogi himself would have owned most of the mines here, but he's fallen somewhat on hard times and had to sell off some of the rights.
How terrible for him.
I feel like there should be a way to take advantage of that, but I can't. Maybe he'd be willing to be our bear barrier. What do you think?
He might get 2 or 3 bears with him.
Yes, that's right. I heard earlier he had 4 bears, so...
Good ancestor gag.
Yeah.
All right, so Haltmakar, nestled amidst the serrated, snow-dusted peaks, are these hodgepodge of structures. There's candy-coloured wooden houses on stilts, triangular roof barns, and then sturdy modern commercial buildings scattered around these lines of frosted roads. And amidst the buzz of Skideberg, the quaint town is alive with activities, the hubbub of miners returning from their shifts, the revelers enjoying the endless sunlight, and almost maniacal, crazed huskies yipping at whatever moose pass by.
All right. Yomi says the bear flares, as I'm now thinking of them, the live flares that we used, they seem to need food. I remember as a human you would need food. I'm not so far removed. Just a few.
Used to enjoy food.
Yeah, so one would imagine. Anyway, I think we should find a place where they go for that, and that way we can perhaps find someone to come along with us. I don't know. It's an idea. Suggestions?
Oh, I see. A food-consuming bear deterrent.
Bear
not
barrier. Yeah.
Speed trap. Yeah. Okay. Speed bump. That's the word.
Speed bump. Yeah. Or
it took 3 tries, but I got there. Yeah.
Or perhaps more weaponry, since the weaponry we had was ineffective, or some of the flares that everyone keeps speaking of. Yes.
Yeah. Do we want to... Actually, I'm going to propose we stop in with the diagnostician first.
Money.
Who will give us that. Yeah, all that. Give us money, which we will then waste and or spend.
A surprisingly excellent suggestion. Well done, Atrocity.
So the sick house, the town hospital, which is run by the Dr. Valtoki, who wheels his way to the main door. All of the systems around him are connected to his central console, and so the door glides open as he approaches, and he calls to you, beckoning with his instrumental fingers. He says, "Hail, Oxile. Welcome. I trust you have been successful in your endeavors."
Lexco responds and says, "Absolutely, no bumps in the road whatsoever."
No bumps in which road? I am not aware of any roads that have been paved on the way to the Atastup. Are you sure you have proceeded in the correct direction?
Oh man, we did. Well, we did. It's a proverbial road.
Yeah, it's a metaphorical road.
My apologies. I am unaccustomed to the vagaries of meat bags.
Oh, well,
there we are.
I'm flattered, but I'm one of you.
Indeed. Although it appears that you are a discontinued model.
And Lexco, you've been spending quite a bit of time with others than your own kind, which I'm not certain I completely approve of, but perhaps it's contaminated your outlook on the world.
My system was designed and manufactured by Sigmund Systems in the years before the Doom. As you can see, I'm well equipped for the Fimbulvita with wide tire tracks and the latest in Laerstell joints, able to handle the ice and snow. May I suggest an upgrade, or maybe just dismantle yourself?
Odin's beard, he's gone into demo mode.
Yeah, but you don't mess with the classic, right?
We deposited the remains of Bjarni at the aforementioned place, plus the remains of our lost companion, which, of course, you will be pleased about, since we did not bring any broken down humanity back into the town where the bears might come and feed on them. We've avoided any sense of that happening in any way.
Agreed. You have abided correctly by the death law, and my thanks to you for that. I believe I owe you several crowns. I will, of course, have to make deductions for the misspent ammunition and any wear and tear to my general sanity.
Sounds fair. I almost feel like the GM's own voice slipped in there on that last sentence.
He hands over a shiny imperial crown.
Nice. That was
Do not spend it all at once. Now, unless you are in need of medical attention, this conversation can serve no further purpose.
All right, let's leave this. Let's get away from this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe depressed.
He's creeping you out, right?
Freaking me out.
Yeah. I believe, fellows, there was a talk of a gun store. I can't remember the name of the man who runs it. It was something beginning with a G. I don't know.
Gunner's Gun Store. Gunner Weatherbang.
Oh, that's a funny name. Let's. I think we should go there. What say you?
Aye, aye.
I do have another stop to make, but I'll come with you.
What's your other stop?
Air is curious where a person would go. He wants to know who currently owns that mine number 7. There was speculation that the Blowhard might have previously owned it, but I want to know what's its current legal ownership status. Whether is that a thing that would be kept track of somewhere?
It would indeed, but there's no better person to ask than the law speaker himself, who will be running the law thing in due course.
Oh, good.
When you two have to face the results of your actions.
So, Gunner's Gun Store is a kind of run-down shack with a crudely painted sign. It's the only identifier thrust on top, and it's mainly a sporting goods store. It does deal in goods for the great outdoors, things that you might have bought or borrowed prior to leaving, but now that you're back, you can look at all of the flare guns, tripwire sets, and binoculars and that kind of thing that he does have for sale. He also does rent and repair Diverg.
Oh.
Hello, what is it that I can do for you? Alpha, eh? Doc Alpha. I haven't seen your like, well, in many a year. Any hope of tapping into that diamond trade?
Above the table, what?
Do you remember where you hail from? Is a town called Kongstein, or it's effectively Kingstone, the name for a diamond. And the diamond mines there were one of the reasons your people emerged from the earth and kicked out all of the conniving humans and the menfolk and forced them to leave what was the former capital.
Oh, sensible policy, well executed.
So was the major town of the area? Probably a few decades ago. You lose track because time doesn't mean quite as much to eternals such as yourself.
Right. So no, there's no chance of him getting in on the diamond trade at the moment.
No, like that, is it? Not even willing to hear a pitch? Well, you
Sure, I'll hear a pitch.
black devils, get out of my shop.
Then forget that then.
Boy, we're making friends everywhere.
Yeah.
Excuse me, man. Before we depart, where could we acquire a bear?
A bear, blasphemer. Bears are not for sale. But if you want to take care of one of the ever-wandering ones, then attend to the Temple of the Bear. That's where Oldinger, one of your alpha sort, consorts with the beasts.
All right. Thank
But
you.
don't dilly-dally. There's already a summons out for the likes of you.
A summons?
Ooh.
Yes, you are to attend the law thing and answer for your crimes on the ice. You've already been shilly-shallying with the Ásbjarnarson, haven't you? As all the whole town's got their tongues a-wagging.
Before we depart, might we spend some of our money?
I tried to do a deal with you for diamonds and you turned your nose up.
Well,
Too good for you, aren't I?
No, not for me. For the wheeled thing. It's a whole other. Yeah, it doesn't appreciate a man the way that I do. Boy, that sounded wrong.
Well,
I'd like to test that theory.
yeah, don't stop now.
I will let you, Leomi, I will let you roll a will attack roll.
Okay.
In order to persuade this gentleman, Gunnar Weatherbag. He's well known for being dour and miserable. Perhaps working with the Dvergar has rubbed off on him.
He feels like he'd fit right in with our group, honestly.
Yeah, he would.
So a 1d20, Ian, is what I'm rolling.
Correct.
Modified by my...
Your charm and personality.
Well, that's got to be a low number.
We're screwed for sure.
Minus
Yeah.
10.
Okay, here we go. An even 10. Exactly a 10.
It is enough to make the greedy man see sense. His eyes glisten with the thought of getting his hand on your one pristine coin. And so he happily, well, unhappily, waves his arms and says, "The store is at your disposal. Don't take too long, though. I don't want Finnbogi's men busting down my door to get at you."
Yeah, yes, very good. Is there a weapon you would recommend for someone such as myself? Older, powerful, distinguished, elegant?
Maybe a matching staff that you can hobble around on.
I was hoping...
Oh, a relative.
A firearm of some sort, perhaps. How expensive
Yes.
are the firearms? How expensive?
Yes.
Yes.
Too expensive for you. You've got 1 crown.
Okay. We have 2 firearms now, I believe, fellows. We have a rifle and a pistol or something.
Mhm.
Yes.
Aye.
More ammunition, perhaps, for these. Oh, flares! Yeah. Flares. That's what we want.
Flares.
Flares.
Absolutely flares.
Do you know the phrase "shutting the barn door after the horse has bolted"?
Ah,
I think the version
feel-
of that is buying flares after the polar bear has eaten you.
yeah, okay.
But what if there's another polar bear?
I feel there may
What
be
about
a
the Temple
hidden
of the Bear?
message in there, guys, that the GM is trying to get through to us.
I mean, I'm merely trying to say that the time and obsession for flares is probably past. Maybe stock up for the future. It's up to you.
I mean, your proverb sort of presupposes that we're aware of the existence of a barn or a door. We're just stumbling through the dark with really no clue between the three of us.
Who's getting quarrelsome now? We are a well-matched group.
Ixnay on the airplay then.
Okay. So yes, some ammunition. What do we have in terms of ammunition currently? I don't have any of that. I have a bow and 20 arrows. I do have that. What do you guys have?
I just have a spear.
I have a revolver and 6 bullets.
Oh, but what about we had a rifle, did we not?
Yes.
Cliff had a rifle.
Well, if I draw your attention to
Yes.
Chapter 6 in the When the Wolf Comes rulebook, you will see that a belt of ammo of 100 rounds is 2 crowns. So if you wish to spend and buy yourself 50 rounds, then you may do so.
Or 25 rounds for half a crown.
What was the page number again, Ian? Sorry, I was slow to respond to that.
Page number 177. Most things are going to be a little bit out of your price range, as merely having done one errand and been paid a solitary gold crown.
Yeah, we're not retiring yet, is what I'm hearing.
Well, our previous friend did.
Well, a fair point.
More of a downsizing, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I haven't got all day, have I?
Yeah, you do.
Sorry, 177. His voice pushes everything out of my brain. Very effective.
Page 177.
Thank you. But we all have a weapon currently. You have a spear, Legsko, and you have a pistol, Steve, and there's a rifle floating around, and I've got a bow. So maybe
I have a pistol and also the melee weapon.
Yeah, I have a Seax as well.
The Seax, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we're well armed. I mean, this really speaks to a lack of awareness.
We just wouldn't use the word "well" in front of armed.
Oh,
technically,
just armed.
I'm getting used to some of the hint language here. I think that suggests that perhaps. What about armor? Maybe does he sell armor?
Are we keeping the rifle of our late colleague? No, wait. No, that was Bjarni's.
Was it Bjarni's?
It was technically loaned to you by Val Toki for the purposes of providing you with some kind of effective defense against the Isbjorn.
Crap. So we have to give it back.
Or just add it to the list of legal infractions.
Crimes against.
I mean,
I feel like we need to make some friends in town if the thing at the thing is going to go well.
Yeah.
So let's buy something from this guy,
should.
even though he's not really going to be our friend.
The problem with that, though, is that we're assholes.
Yeah, but he is too, so there's that commonality.
We're trying to out-hassle him? Oh, God, this is going to be a thing.
Well, we're trying to match him.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, but I don't know what to buy. Okay, this may be a dead end. I don't know. Ed, brilliant ideas?
Explosives?
Explosives.
Mm-hmm.
We need 20 crowns for 20 grenades, so that seems unlikely.
So 1 crown for one.
Well, 1 crown for 1 grenade. I have an idea. I have an idea for the law thingy.
Do you? Do speak, good fellow.
Oh yes.
It sounds impressive already. I have an idea for the law thingy.
Yeah, I'm in.
I've heard Matlock say exactly that.
Yeah.
Episode 12, I remember. Yeah, that's great.
I feel like there's a way to get rid of some bad actors.
The problem, Legsko, is that if he has a lot of friends in town and being a rich and powerful guy to some degree, we have to find people who don't like him that will stand up for us. I think we should leave the shop, but we should buy something. Should we buy a grenade?
You could buy a fragmentation grenade, or a stun grenade, or a tear gas grenade. Or an explosive vest. If anyone wanted to go out in a blaze of glory.
I feel like I like that last one, that last grenade. Get into the law thing, eliminate the judge, mistrial.
Right. You're sure we wouldn't end up outlaws with that behavior.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I mean, there is a logic in there, right? Like, if there's no one alive to proclaim us outlaws, then we can't be proclaimed. But I don't think it would work as well as...
Very much the opposite of my suggestion of making some friends.
Okay, that, yeah.
Killing most of the people in town of any importance. I'm wondering if the shopkeeper is hearing this conversation. Because
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Thought and Memory campaign. I wouldn't lean too much into the memory part. But focus on
We
the
could
thought.
turn it around, right, and spread the money around and, well, let's be honest, buy friends.
Sorry, I'm just sitting.
Yes, you aren't doing yourselves any favors. Can you not make up your mind?
We'll take one fragmentation grenade. Good sir.
Oh, last of the big spenders, eh?
Yes.
Here,
quite.
take it then. Keep the pin in it.
Thanks for the tip. Ever so kind. All right.
We'll find somewhere good to put it.
Right, well, do come again. There's always opportunities to haggle. I have errands of my own. I'm a trader, always seeking a little bit of a quick buck. And if you're in town and able to go back up to those diamond mines, well, I'm sure we could come to some kind of accommodation.
We'll certainly discuss that amongst ourselves. That might be well worth everyone's time. Thank you for a man. You're quite charming.
And if you do see Solveig at the cooking kettle, do pass her on my regards.
Will do. Solveig. Yes.
The cooking kettle.
The other person, Ian, that you mentioned was
Oldinger.
right, Oldinger. That Oldinger, yeah, the way you said it. Yeah, I thought we should maybe go see that person as well. But let's go to the cooking kettle first and see what kind of what we can work out there. Yomi thinks out loud to the rest of the group.
So
Yeah.
the cooking kettle is the local hostelry, right? And so that is where the townsfolk gather. It's like the Cheers bar of the town of Halpmakar. And as you go in, you actually see that your friends, the miners, are all propping up a table, presumably knocking back some whale oil or something. There is also the proprietor, Solveig Cooking Kettle. That's where the place gets its name from. And she is quite an attractive woman who's clearly spending her time fending off the unwanted attentions of her more drunk patrons. Unusually for a mess hall, this place also has a dairy in its bowels. You can't really keep the cows outside for want of bears and freezing cold, and so they've established the dairy in the cellar, along with the pay office where all the miners and administrators come to collect their wages.
I propose we start with the miners, because we already have a connection with them. They may feel some pang of gratitude, a little twinge or something, and then we could use that to make friends.
Yes, fine.
Maybe treat them to some lovely oil or something. What do they do? They pour it over themselves, I suppose. Yeah, I propose we start by talking to them.
Oh, hello! It is nice to have met you again.
It is.
Where have you been coming from?
Well, from the mine, we were hoping to see you when we stopped by.
Oh, you came to pay us a visit. This is very kind.
Want to make sure your pump is still working.
Our pump is very active. Thank you so much. We will, of course, be very happy to sing your praises whenever you are to stand in front of the legal tribunal. We have heard that you are up the Shitty Creek.
Yes, some unfair claims were made.
Yes, and as for you, Brother Dverg, you need to really watch yourself. They will just turn you off.
Oh,
That seems harsh.
Who's they?
The people at the thing,
Oh,
I believe.
oh.
You must be aware that we are a thrall class. We live only to serve. If you disobey the manfolk, they will dismantle you.
We're doing a lot of that. That's bad news.
What if the thrall has an owner? They wouldn't disrespect the owner by shutting off the thrall.
No, that is correct, but the thralls have a very little value in the eyes of the menfolk. The spark of creation at the heart of every dverg is not seen as a motivating spirit. We are very poorly abused.
Yes, says Leomi. Who in town knows about the law? Who could advise us about the law? Could we engage to come with us to the thing to help us better represent ourselves?
I am very understanding of the mining law.
And okay. All right. I'm going to go talk to the proprietor.
Okay.
Do not Vince do know about the mining law?
I want to talk about the mining law.
Please.
You talk to the proprietor.
I'll talk to the proprietor. All right, Ian. 2 conversations simultaneously.
Let's do them at the same time.
Yeah.
That will be fun. Which one would you like to address first? Solveig?
I'll approach Solveig, and I say,
my darling.
Greetings, man.
I think you got me mistaken with someone else, my lover.
Yeah, Gunnar says hello. I believe he's a friend.
Oh, no, he's not a friend of mine.
No, nor of mine.
I might call him a stalker.
That's...
Lovelorn old fool he is. I can't be dealing with that. Ever since he was following us around on tour.
I'm a long way from such things. I believe it was of interest once upon a time, but not for a good long time. I
don't know what to serve your sort. What kind of things do you drink?
Well,
is it like
clean water would be excellent. I'd buy some clean water, but
you'd buy some, eh?
Yeah. Yes, certainly.
I'd normally give it away, but if you're willing to pay for it.
One tries to be fair. Solveig, that's what they call you. We need to learn or have someone help us about this business of the man who set his bear on us and killed our companion.
I've heard. Finnbogi's taking a right shine to you, ain't he?
Yeah, quite. And so is there someone in town who could help us understand this better?
Come to the right place, my lover. I tell you, what with all my devices, I know a thing or two about the wiles and wherefores of the law.
I look over at the bot at Legsco and say, I think you might have a chance here. Yes, you know the right sort. Now, a name? Could I get a name, or could you introduce me as someone happened to be here this evening, maybe?
Well, tell you what, pull up a stool and I'll sit down, pour you a nice glass of water, and I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, most wonderful, most wonderful. So I pull up Leomi pulls up a stool and sits his bark down on the top of a distant brethren.
Right, you see, I've had so many mining disputes, so many divorces. I'm happy to dispense what little I know to those drowning their sorrows at my bar. So, my lover, how to resolve your little tete-a-tete with Finnbogi. Let me think now. Always the best approach is negotiation and compromise. Although violence is permissible and may well be required in an event like this. But ultimately you got three choices. You either settle with the man, pay him a sum, it's called the wehrgeld or the blood money, or you submit to judgment by your peers, or you enter into trial by combat.
I believe Dolk Alfar are really good at that, so that might be a good option. All right, okay, that's good. Anything else you could tell us that might be helpful? How should we present the case? I mean, his pet, his creature, attacked our group and killed 2 of our members.
Well,
no provocation from us.
Well, there might be something in that argument then. If a man has a tame white bear, perhaps he should be handling it just like a dog and pay for any damage it does. Otherwise, you just have to present your case in front of the law speaker. You know old Crafty Thorfridson. He's the law speaker in town. He'll have a court of 12 judges drawn from the free and the settled men of the town, and you just have to persuade a 2/3 majority.
Okay, and Crafty, now that name is familiar. Where might I have met Crafty?
Was it the post office?
It was the post office we went into.
Oh,
yeah, that wasn't Crafty. Crafty is a fairly young and erudite man. The old postmaster had seen better days.
Oh yes. Okay.
So Solveig also says, and of course, if you want to demand a duel of honor, you could force Finnbogi into a Horngang.
Could you explain that, please?
Ritual combat. You've been around long enough that your character does actually know that.
Okay.
Ritual combat, the Horngang, is effectively like entering into a boxing ring, but with swords. First blood is usually the thing that settles it. Honor is served, and the loser again pays blood money or some kind of restitution to the winner. Obviously, having spent your crown on a grenade, you probably just have about 4 pennies to your name.
Right. I have a little bit more than that. I have $3 from my original roll-up.
$3. You know, were you to have to pay hypothetical compensation, that would pay for half a thrall's demise.
Okay. It's a good thing we spent that crown. Are any of the people here tonight likely to be part of the judging group? I would just like to meet them and pay my respects and tell everyone I can how much we admire this fine town.
I'd be very circumspect if I were you.
Okay.
You see, you ain't from round here.
Right.
And Finnbogi goes back generations. You can't just sidle up an Alfar and an abomination from Kongstein.
How many rounds of drinks would $3 buy for everyone who's here tonight?
Well, not enough to drown all of your sorrows, my friend.
Fine. Thank you very much for your assistance. I understand our predicament so much.
Well, you're welcome, and may the Lord Tyr go with you. And in Forseti's eyes, I hope you find justice, my darling.
Is Crafty here tonight, or does he come here?
Well, he has been known to take the odd tipple, but you don't really find the law speaker getting drunk on the evening before a trial.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to rejoin my companions at this moment.
Oh, welcome back. What did you find out from the lovely Solveig? I have all of these interesting facts about mining law. First of all, you must dig, and then possession is 9/10 of the law. Anything you dig up, you get to keep 9/10 of.
Who gets the other 10th?
That goes as a tithe to the owner of the mine.
Who owns, if it's not inappropriate to ask, who owns your mine currently?
That is a very good question. It is owned by the Institute of the Firefox.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And how did they gain ownership of it? Do we know this?
Well, I'm familiar with that. It's above my pay grade, as you would say. But the Firefox is doing many researches, and it is very important for them to understand the soil composition after the Swordfall and the Great Winter.
So they're interested in the soil in the mine?
Yes,
There must be more valuable things than that.
and the minerals and all of the riches of the land. All of the Arctic Circle is teeming with minerals.
Oh. What sorts of things have you found in the mine? Are you mining for anything in particular? If you're not allowed to say, of course, I wouldn't. Probably.
Yes, it is best that you attend to the Firefox Institute and make the inquiries there. We are just happy to go to work and dig.
Hi-ho.
Hi-ho. Okay. What other interesting things can you tell us about mining law?
Well, first of all, you must have a very strong shaft.
Mm-hmm.
And then he
Go on.
proceeds to talk for 2 hours about shafts.
Okay.
Dangerous when time is of the essence here.
Because I do not fatigue, I can sit here and feign rapt interest for a long time.
In actual fact, you don't really have any facial expressions, so you can just stare at him.
I am perfectly suited for this.
I lean into air while he's talking with the Diverg and say, how are you at hand-to-hand combat? It seems that might be an option, and apparently they give extra points to Doc Alfar before it starts. That's what I've heard. The lady and some others told me.
How am I at combat?
Hmm.
I'll give you a hint. I'm dead.
No, I mean now, not before.
No, not a lot better.
Didn't learn from his mistakes.
I received exactly one comprehensive lesson, failed the exam immediately, and I'm still in remedial. But I mean, if I'm our best choice, then I'll do what I can, and you should run.
Yes. Okay, very good. I think we should go to the Old Dinger. The Old Dinger. I don't believe I'm saying that quite right.
It's not 2 words, the Old Dinger. It's Old Dinger.
It is not.
Old Dinger.
But feel free to rename the characters that you need. Hello, Old Dinger.
Sure. I must say the scenario is standing up really well when 3 anarchists have been introduced into the mix. It's been a while since the bot kissed anybody, but still.
Celibate.
We'll head off to... I think, fellows, we should go to the Old Dinger and talk with the Alfar there. Okay.
What do my people think about is the Temple of the Bear like an Alfar thing, or...
Fair question. So it's the Alfar are generally guardians of the wilderness, and Aldinger himself has come to these lands of the menfolk in order to do his best to protect these spiritual beings, these bears. So he's often viewed across the town as a kindly guardian. When you see him, you'll see he resembles a kind of gnarled bristlecone pine made of a very dense pale wood. He has a deep love of the Ásbjarnarson and as trying to preserve them and the ecosystem. The Temple of the Bear itself is used to officiate ceremonies in Altmakar.
Okay, so I'm thinking just before we head over there, maybe there's an angle here regarding the bear. If we could get, if there's some angle in there about, a well cared for bear would never do this sort of thing.
Exactly.
Get some expert testimony. I don't know what the equivalent will be. Some expert testimony that Dingleberry, what was his name? Finnbogi, that's what.
Dingleberry's right. Yeah.
Hence known as Dingleberry, was somehow negligent or not a good bear.
He kicked the bear right at the end.
Warden.
That's gotta matter.
Also true. We saw him kick the bear. So we're wondering if there's some way to drag that in on our side.
All right. Well, the Temple of the Bear sits slightly apart from the town proper, accessed by a long gravel track. It's an expansive wooden building, and outside you can see statues of Odin, Thor, and Jamali. And inside is a wide rectangular hall with a fire burning in its center to provide much needed heat. The temple also doubles as a sanctuary for 3 orphaned bear cubs who roam freely inside. The alpha spots you and says, "Brother, welcome. What brings you to the Temple of the Bear?"
Thank you, brother. I have been traveling with these fellows. We were on the ice helping one of the men reach the final end, and a tame
You
bear.
mean to say one of your fellows has fallen?
It was Bjarnson, a local man, and then also another.
Oh, then woe is me. Bjarni was an esteemed member of the congregation.
He was a fine gentleman, and we enjoyed his company immensely.
I would not go so far as to call him a fine gentleman, an ornery old bastard, but he had his place.
He fit in with our group, is what I'm saying. Yes, and the Dingleberries. No. What was his actual name? Air? Gnocchi? No, that doesn't sound quite right. Say it again.
Are we just naming Italian dishes?
Are we talking about our fallen friend, or
No, not
Finnbogi?
No, the owner of the bear, the pet bear that was so
Finnbogi or something along those lines?
Finnbogi.
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 I would give you counsel, my friends. Do
Please.
not insult a great man such as Finnbogi. Were you to have a slip of the tongue and call him Dingleberry, I fear that he would impale you upon his sword, and he would be defended by the law.
Yes. However, his pet bear, his pet Ásbjarn, Snow White, attacked our party and killed the 2 men that we were taking to their. Well, one we were taking to their. As it turned out, we were taking both of them to their deaths. But intentionally, we were only taking Bjarni to his
Such a
death.
horror! This is unheard of. This is a matter for evil sorcerers or jealous neighbors. Then perhaps they can take control of Ice Bear and send them to kill an enemy. If a bear behaves aggressively, it is a sure sign it is controlled by someone.
Naturally peaceful creatures. Yes, it seemed to us that Finnbogi was perhaps not treating the bear with the respect it was due.
Well, such a thing is blasphemy. The Ásbjarn are liminal beings. They straddle the divide between men and nature. They are the very avatars of Odin himself. Let me assure you, if harm has come to one of your fellows, it is because of pernicious behavior. I must find this bear and sing him his birth myth to remind him that he is a good creature who does not wish harm to anyone.
And the bear seemed unwell. It was thin. We watched Finnbogi kick it. It just seemed to us our own problems are of less import than our concern for this poor animal.
Indeed. Well, when it comes to the assembly, I shall attest on your behalf. If what you say is true and you swear the oath on the ring, then of course I will stand by you and do what is right for our bear community.
I swear the oath. This is what happened. This is what we saw, and it does not seem right.
It does not, my fellow Alpha. Well, call on me should you need me, and I will be there to lend you my wisdom.
Please do come. We could use your wisdom.
Okay. Well, how would you care to proceed? The 3 bear cubs gambol playfully around your feet. And,
would it be, Air's wondering if it would be appropriate to make some sort of a small gift to the temple for the upkeep of these 3 bears, or something along those lines?
if you wish to, then the Alpha
well
Aldinger would happily, would be delighted to receive your aid and arms. ALMS as opposed to ARMS.
The bears already had some of this. Well, what do you say, Spruce?
Bruce?
Spruce.
Spruce.
It's like the tree equivalent of the Australian Bruce. So just,
Is your name not Spruce?
Spruce, mate. I think he's just going to go through all of the various arboreal entities. Next week you'll be oak or pine.
Yeah, no.
I do, in fact, have a list right here.
Good.
What an atrocious thing to do, and how fitting.
How glorious.
All right. Well, I from my own, well, it wouldn't be a pocket so much as perhaps a fork. I will donate $1 to the upkeep of the bear cubs, says Viomi.
The priest is very happy with that and welcomes you to stay and warm yourselves by his hearth fire.
Not too close.
The Alpha are, in their non-spiritual form, vulnerable to fire. So,
Yeah, actually, I take double damage from fire.
double damage from sitting too close
Although
to the
I feel
s'mores.
nervous mentioning that in front of the Doc Alpha. I just feel like he doesn't really like me. Don't know why. Okay. Well, shall we? What time of day are we at now? Such things are beneath me, but we're going to need to know what time to
You
go.
have spent many hours wandering around and chin wagging with the locals, and it's disorientating with the sun always in the sky and no real distinction between dusk and dawn, such as the polar summer. You find that it probably is nearing the morning.
Okay.
I wonder if we have time to go to the Institute.
I think it's
Before
right in the town,
thing.
right?
I thought I saw it on the map.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any influence or anything that can be gained from it, but it can't hurt. I'm wondering about discussing the ownership of the mine, and there's some opportunity to throw Finnbogi into disrepute, or find out that he has thrown himself into disrepute through his mine ownership activities, if any of that is true.
Oh, I see. So we can do character assassination, is what you're suggesting.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to do so and trudge back down the gravel path towards the center of town. As you do so, you hear the clanging of a bell. Several handbells, in fact, start ringing out in unison, and you see a crowd beginning to assemble in the Haltmakar town square. More and more people throng together, and you see some excited children at the edges of the crowd point their fingers at you, gasp and attract some of the adults' attention by pulling hard on the hems of skirts and coats.
Balls, we're out of time.
Let's Go says, I think that mob is for us.
Yeah, let's go get thinged.
I believe our mob is here. Yes, let's get thing.
Yeah. I think past tense would be thang. Or...
Thang. Yeah, wild. Yeah, and if it gets
Or
out of
thong.
control, it'll be a wild thang.
Yeah.
Let Thang be thangin' this.
Yeah. Or thong.
Or thong.
Wonderful. I would say save it for the judge.
We are wearing him down, folks.
Just to warn you, there is a mob quickly assembling. And in the thick of that mob is a man who acts as the town law speaker, Crapty Thorfridson. He is a universally respected young man. He has something of a beard going to grey and the long flowing robes of officialdom. He has a keen mind and a reputation for a ready wit and a rare appetite for hard work. And it is ultimately through the crowd that starts to gather and call out and cry. There's an electric excitement in the town square as you walk towards facing your music, so to speak, and Crapty stands up, tucks his robes in neatly around him, and you see that it's him ringing the bell loudest, surrounded by a couple of other officials. He is clearly convening the court. When he makes eye contact with you, you hear him issue the following statement. With law our land shall rise, but it will perish with lawlessness. These 12 leading thanes, together with the reeves, shall go out and swear on the blood-reddened rings which are given into their hands, that they will not accuse any innocent man, nor shield a guilty one. With that, the 12 thanes that he mentioned all come and swear an oath on the blood-reddened ring and take their seats, 6 on each side. The crowd quietens down and everyone begins to look quite intently at you, but also someone who's just looming over your shoulder, the 7-foot figure of Finnbogi Ásbjarnarson. Finnbogi marches forward. He also swears an oath on the ring, and then he stands before the judges and he says, I take witness to this and give notice of an assault laid down by law against my property, the Ásbjarn Snortheater. I say in this suit that these fellows ought to be made guilty, outlaws, not to be fed, not to be forwarded, not to be helped or harbored in any way. I call Thorod as my first witness and Thorbjorn as my second. I have called them to bear witness before the court, so the judges may hear. And with that, he begins to tell his version of the tale about how his poor bear was tempted into the tundra by some inexpert and reckless hunters who were dragging a bleeding man almost as bait. The poor Bjarni Bjarnason, coughing and spluttering blood. What were you thinking is the essence of his testimony. Why would you drag a bloody mess onto the ice, if not to lure his poor bear, who's been suffering from illness and needed a good hearty meal to recover, a wasting disease that often affects the Ásbjarn. He was trying to recover it after it hungrily snapped its bonds and fled into the tundra, obviously tracking the tasty morsel that you dangled before it. What else was the poor creature to do but to attack and eat the humans? Of course, you unfeeling denizens of death, the Doc Alpha, the wretched product of Yggdrasil's scream, a mechanical device barely fit for anal probing. These 3 miscreants, he demands, are to be banished from the land.
Leomi thinks to himself, we are screwed. Okay.
Air thinks to himself, we're screwed, but we're not going down. We're not going meekly.
Leomi steps forward.
Swear the oath?
Swear the oath, yes.
Yeah, I should probably start with that.
Yes, I swear the
You
oath.
grasp the blood-reddened ring of Ulla and prepare to have your say.
Obviously, this man, Finnbogi, cares deeply for the Icebjorn. It is for this reason that he allows it to run loose in the wild. It's for this reason he beats it and kicks it on finding it again. It is for this reason that he keeps it as a downtrodden beast of burden in his own belonging. These are the only reasons there could be for such behavior.
You stand in front of the court and swear on the blood-reddened ring that I am maltreating these beasts of Odin.
We all saw, after the poor creature attacked and consumed two of our fellows, and then you arrived and mistreated the bear in front of us. We all saw this. We all
It is
witnessed
a
it.
grave mistake to swear before the gods and men that I am a liar. Thorbjorn, did you see me kick the great and noble Snow White? Thorod, have I ever been known to mistreat the noble son of Othin himself? Both his bodyguards shake their heads and look shocked at the very notion.
Do I see Oldinger in the crowd?
Holding is still back in the temple.
Oh,
Oh.
well, that's
All right.
inconvenient.
Call for him. Perhaps the bear can speak in some fashion.
Can we call for? Can I call him as a witness or a what was the word that
Expert testimony?
expert testimony? Well, Finnbogi introduced two people who were going to be his witnesses.
Yeah, his bodyguards.
Yeah. Okay. Can we call then?
This is outrageous! Crap, Chief Thorfridson. You mean to allow the Alpha to collude? There are but 3 in town, 1 benighted specimen, and 2 scions of Yggdrasil, and you wish for them to make a mockery of your court? I say that this case be tried by men and menfolk alone, and not the twisted remnants of our ancestors. If we wanted the thoughts of spirits, well then we would all get on our knees and pray.
Let's go chimes up. I look at Finnbogi, and I reveal myself in every fashion possible. I want to get this guy angry.
So when you reveal yourself, do you mean you really want him to see you?
I want him to see me. I want him to look inside me and know. And know that he's lying, know the harm he's causing in us.
You're basically exposing your groin tubing.
Yes, all slots open.
Dripping lube, vibrations to the max.
The law speaker blushes and covers his eyes. There is a kind of gasp that echoes across the town square as mothers gather their children and hold them tight, and the menfolk either curse or spit. Finnbogi himself goes bright beetroot red, blazes fury from his eyes, and draws his great heirloom sword and points it directly at you. There is no need to bandy more words. This one has spoken with his innards. We will meet again in the court of Holmgang.
That's combat, right?
When you insult a local dignitary by flashing your nether regions in the middle of a solemn legal procedure, you tend to lose the sophisticated debate.
Other than that, I feel we're handling it really well.
They're doing great. Yeah. Not the direction I was going to take, but I mean, I can't deny it's got impact.
The 3 of us are high-fiving over in the corner. Certainly.
We successfully turned the tide of the trial.
Yeah, there are people weeping in the mob, which starts to disperse. The law speaker, Krapti, scowls at you and walks off with his officials. The judges, some of them smile and clasp hands with Finnbogi. Perhaps it was a foregone conclusion, but justice will not prevail through a war of words, but now through the point of a sword.
It was going to end this way anyways. No, not at all. We never actually had a chance at a fair trial.
I asked the other Alfar to come over, and the dwarves were going to come, but they're not here, and no one would listen to them anyway. I think it's hard to be a stranger in this town, I think.
And I mean, they called us what do they call us? Their ancestors, and yet they're very disrespectful to their ancestors.
Yeah, I think it's it's the same way you treat perhaps grandpa at Thanksgiving, right? There's slightly racist old man at the end of the table. You just feed him and hope he goes away.
I think that our another region bearing friend has just sort of jumped us ahead to the end of this inevitable process, and it really has saved everyone a lot of time.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it. I would like to point out that were you eloquent masters of rhetoric, and you had brought all of the various witnesses that you met to your defense, perfectly plausible to sway the opinion and the judges and the jury in your favor. But that
forgot to give him the summons.
That time has now passed. So, all right, the duel of honor. I will explain a little bit about how the ritual combat is conducted, because it will be taking place very shortly. Traditionally it takes place between two duelists, but Finnbogi has proposed that each of you enter the ring along with an opponent, himself and his two bodyguards who have been with him all along. The duel is to be fought on a secured cloak. It's a little like a boxing or a wrestling ring. It's about 3 meters square. There's a boundary of ropes and hazel posts 3 meters out. Now, Finnbogi is so confident of victory that he is walking around the town square with a bull for sacrifice as an offering to the gods, and parading it around and receiving cheers and slaps on the back and toasts with ale horns. And so all of that is going on while the ring is being set up. A seer does perform a mystical rite to uncover and banish any spells that might unjustly affect the outcome of the duel. You are expected to use a sword or a shield or any other melee weapon. You're not allowed to wear armor, guns, and grenades might be a bit of a stretch.
Even if it's in a slot?
You can try and sneak. Why don't we can make a roll for that in a bit. You're going to strike a single blow in turn. The challenged, which is you, will deliver the first blow in that ring. Due to the constraints of the ring, its limited ability to maneuver, and the law stipulates that the fight shall end when first blood is drawn and shown upon the cloak beneath the fighter's feet. So once a character or an opponent has been wounded in any way, they are eliminated from the fight. The last man standing gets the compensation in this case. So you effectively 3-on-3 duel with swords and shields. If you don't have them, they will be provided. It's up to you to cunningly maneuver and best your foe before they strike you down.
Do we have to blood all 3 of them, or is it first blood of any one of them?
All 3. So it's an elimination round.
Okay.
Let's go. Huddles up the team.
Yeah.
I'm starting to not like this guy.
Yeah, I think he needs a little bit of killing.
This guy needs to die.
I have a plan.
Oh, please.
Well, if it goes as well as the rest of our plans, we're golden.
We go ahead and we put the grenade in slot 2, which is my wet tongue slot. So people are less likely to really dig around in there. We get into the arena, pull the pin. I go at the 3 of them, weaken them, you guys finish them off, and you put me back together.
You could... Oh, you're right, that. We could bloody all 3 of them in one go. if this works.
We're just trying to blood them, though, right? We don't have to kill them.
Yeah, we just have to blood them, yeah.
I wonder if things get worse if we kill.
Would it be safe to assume that this would be considered like disreputable?
Going into a sacred ritual environment
Should be fine.
that's only meant that has literally had a seer go in and dispel any sense of wrongdoing and malpractice, smuggling in a grenade and blowing everyone up. No, I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's a sacred grenade. Does that help?
Is it
It's
a
a
holy
holy
grenade?
Yeah.
Oh man!
Thank you.
Goodness.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yes, I mean,
Thou shalt
well,
not count to 5.
so Ed, you are more than welcome to do that.
It's gonna make things noticeably worse. We can explore other options.
It's hard to see how much worse it's going to get.
Okay. Additional part of plan. Let's suppose you do this. We pretend to be horrified, I don't know, or moral outrage or something like that.
Yeah, that'll go over. Yep.
You take the moral fall for it,
Mhm.
and we gather up your pieces in a bag or whatever, and we take you out. You are banished, so we take you outside the city and then put you back together or something. It's not a great plan.
You just have to hope that the Norse courts of law don't have a doctrine of collective responsibility.
I feel that may have
do
been
they?
another one of those hints.
Could I write?
Yeah.
Could I write a manifesto
Oh, good.
and then kind of absolve you guys?
Is it in the style of the Kama Sutra?
Yes, it's.
I would like to
I
illustrate
just want.
It's an illustrated manifesto.
I want to
yes.
illustrate my positions on this particular problem.
I mean, this is literally one of those lover, not a fighter scenarios, isn't it?
It really is.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be a strong statement, that's for sure.
What if he were to blow himself up before the fight had actually formally started? I feel like we'd still be made to pay.
That's like what? As
And I don't know.
as a
If, I don't know if
protest?
Finnbogi has enemies that are gonna conveniently blow him up, and then 2 people show up to the ring.
Yeah, we might accidentally kill somebody else, and yeah.
Or are you talking about as an act of protest somehow?
I feel like that's a fine line of distinction that may not be fully appreciated by the locals. Given that he like outcast all 3 of us essentially as non-human, and no one was saying, "Hey, that's not very nice." Everyone kind of went, "Yeah."
And the fact that we only had non-human friends to back us up, and none of them showed up, it's
What
bad
if?
look.
What if? Yeah, that was not good. That's true. Even if all our friends had shown up, it was still all non-humans and serfs. What if we try and get the blood win? We might get lucky. And if that fails, then we go
Or we
to
pull the pin.
explosive sex grenade.
Okay.
Not afraid you hear that often.
No.
We've got the GM rubbing his temples now. That's good. That's always.
I got up this morning. Explosive sex grenade was not something I expected to hear.
Explosive sex grenade in a holm gang. I mean, there's Norse purists and Viking aficionados everywhere. Rolling in there,
they're
braves.
They're having palpitations of some sort. Yeah.
But the Dverg are naturally kind of earthy and mischievous, just like their dwarven counterparts. So, it's well within character. It's just don't necessarily expect anyone to look at the steaming legs that are left and feel any contrition.
Well, they don't like us now. How much worse is it going to get?
Yeah. Well, feels like we're on a steam train to find out.
Yeah.
All right. So is that the plan? We try and go for the first blood.
Yeah. We one honest round.
Above the table question: what happens if we get 2 hits and they get 1? Since it's 3 on 3.
Then in round 2, there's only one of them and 2 of you.
Those rounds.
So whoever gets hit gets kicked out.
Oh, rounds, right? You did say rounds. Okay.
So we can't let the sex bomb droid get bloodied, or else he'd be ejected.
Right, it's kind of a round one kind of move.
Or we could try to take the hits for him,
But then we're out.
but he's still in, and he's still got his
He
magic
may
sex
not
bomb.
even get the grenade through the preparatory stuff.
I think that would be a tie also.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're overthinking.
Well, we're thinking at all. Which
Is it?
Yeah. This is the first time. This is the most discussion we've had about a choice here.
And it's because we backed ourselves in a corner. Go ahead, Ian. You were going to say.
I just, perhaps you just let the norms decide. The great,
Fates,
the great
yeah. fates
who control your destiny. You think you're in control of this, but ultimately this is all preordained. So don't feel
I'd
bad.
like to remind the Norns that I'm dead.
We're both dead.
They've rendered judgment on us centuries ago.
That's true. So really, what you're saying is that you're like a twist of fate that should be unknotted.
And
I'm
we
not
can
against
always start the whole adventure from the beginning. We might do better the next time.
Oh, so like a Groundhog Day sort of thing.
Yeah, until we get it right. We'll Bill Murray ourselves until we win.
I'm sure everyone would
I'm
love
in.
to listen to episode 17, exactly the same as episode 1.
Definitely novel entertainment. All right, I think we should go for the fight.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do it.
Let's go for it.
With grenade as backup.
It's
You know what?
slot two.
Grenade at your judgment.
Okay.
Now that's what I was going to say too.
Finnbogi and his two henchmen stand opposite you in the ring. They clutch their shields like professionals. They swing their short swords with the skill of experts, twirling them around their head. Finnbogi says, "Are you ready to play with the grown-ups, children?" He levels again his great heirloom sword, a sword forged from the furnaces of Viking craftsmen a millennia ago. His braid flutters in the wind as they all set themselves up, poised for battle. Using the rules of when the wolf comes, you may choose a fast turn or a slow turn. If you want to take a fast turn, you will be able to charge and strike a blow.
I'll take a fast turn, and I'll eject the sword from my front slot, and I could run out of them, kind of like a spinning, like a top, because I'm on tracks. Could I?
Are you
Like a-
throwing the
like a-
sword away, Ed, or you're?
No, I don't have arms, so I was thinking that whatever weapon I have would just be coming out of a hole, and kind of spin like a top at them, using my robot speed.
Of 8, which is considerably slower than most.
Oh,
But
I got a boost.
you got a boost. You want someone to push you. You can certainly trundle towards them.
Menacingly.
I was expecting myself like a battle bot, but
Again, that might be just in your memory banks. Perhaps you've got a corrupted file somewhere, because actually you're just a badly put together sex bot. What are you trying to hit them with?
The sword, right?
yeah, they said swords would be provided.
But you said you were ejecting it, or you
it's
kind
just
of
like
stuck it in.
Extending, I
Yeah,
think. is
Extending.
more what you meant,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought you were flinging your sword.
He's a sex bot. He's all about extending.
I'm thinking I should use my action to help our sex bot friend with his endeavor.
You have an ability to.
No, I was just hoping for some sort of an assistance action. I'm just looking through the list.
Yeah, there is a help action. You may give him a wheel if you decide. For example, if you move in close, you give him an extra bit of a shove for momentum purposes. That would count, and he would get a wheel on his roll.
I could also do Guardian Tree and give him protection, which is a +1 woe to the attacker, I believe.
Well, they're going to swipe at us anyways, and I don't give much for my chances anyways.
All right, what the heck? That seems like an interesting thing.
I'm doing that.
Let's do it.
I'm helping.
Okay.
I'm getting pushed.
Said General Patton. What the heck?
Yeah.
So we have a 5-minute
Through Europe.
conversation, and we said,
That's exactly what they said.
and then Eisenhower said, what the heck?
Oh, come on,
Yes,
Jose.
screw it. Let's
All right, so
see what happens.
So Ed Lexco is charging as best possible and aiming for whom?
Go for Dickhead.
I'll go for I'll go for Dickhead. I'm going right for his shins. I just got to draw blood, right?
Finnbogi.
So there is a woe on your charge, but it's balanced out by the wheel that Steve is giving you with his help action. So just roll a straight D20, and you're going to modify it for your might.
I don't think I have any modifiers on my might. I have a might of 8, so I think
So that's -2.
-2. Oh, shouldn't have said anything.
Oh boy.
The Norns are always watching, Ed.
All right, so
So you're going to roll a dice 20. You're going to take away 2, subtract 2, and you're going to tell me the result.
okay, so roll a D20. I got an 8.
So 6.
Your elaborate spinning maneuver merely positions you immediately in front of Finnbogi as he raises his blood drinker sword far above his head, ready to strike. The sword plunges down from imperious height, and it cleaves poor Lexco directly into 2 halves.
Oh no.
You 12 damage, which I think is significantly higher than your health, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 2 respective parts of you slide with a clatter to the ground. Your conscious memory, your ROM and your RAM, all meld into one, and you just see a whole line of glitches that eventually coalesce into an error code, and you power down.
Just out of curiosity, where's the grenade at this point?
In your right hand half.
Okay.
Luckily, as yet unpinned. I know that you did try and protect him with your guardian tree, so you really did feel the whoosh of that sword as it evaded your attempt to defend your colleague. Now, the 2 bodyguards, the 2 wolf feeders in the employ of Finnbogi, they both strike and bizarrely strike wide. I think they're so overcome with mirth at the collapse of Lexco into his constituent parts that they haven't been concentrating on poking you with their pointy things.
Humor is mightier than the sword. It's well known.
So back to the top of the round. Both of you may do something in round 2.
Okay.
Ed, we're just going to assume that you're
One little armature ticking against something slower.
A little wire blowing in the wind, looking like a waving hand saying goodbye.
Bye-bye.
One rattling hubcap somewhere.
So can I do a quick action then and do an attack?
You may.
All right, let's do that. Now, I get a plus 12, I'm pretty sure. No, it's my might is 9, so it's a -1 on the attack.
Do we want to discuss this at all? Are we just going to just trade swings? Is that what we're going to do?
Battle-hardened veterans of the Jotun War who returned in order to be elite bodyguards versus a tree man and a living statue.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? I don't think any amount of discussion is going to improve the situation.
All right.
Let's just go for it. We got to get lucky.
Let's get it over with.
May the Norn protect you. All right, here we go. Rolling. Fuck.
You don't need to read the result. You just leave it in the realm of fuck.
Yeah, it's 1 above double. Holy fuck. So it was a 2 -1. So I believe a palpable miss.
You swing your sword with all of the imagined grace and fury of yesteryear when you were a true Viking warrior, but unfortunately none of that translates into your tree-born decrepitude, and you swing so wide, again they just laugh.
Did one of the parasitic bugs flick into its eye or something like that? Maybe something. No. Okay, I'm done.
Into your eye.
Into my eye, yes. With that roll, that does seem
Steve,
appropriate.
it's down to you to defend Doc Alpha honor.
Okay, you marble bastard. You glorious marble.
Remember, you do have your ability to resist damage.
Right, but that's an action. That would take the entire. And they're just trying to touch me. They're not trying to kill me. They're going to kill me, but. So I will just tell them, say out loud, "Go on, send me back to the afterlife, get it over with," and I will swing. And. Oh man, that's a 6. None of us rolled above 8.
In reply, there are a flurry of sword blows. Your defenses are thoroughly penetrated. You suffer one thrust through Air's shoulder, almost shatters the stone visage, but ultimately you are deemed to have lost. Finnbogi raises his arms triumphantly, twirls his great blood drinker sword in the air, and bellows in triumph whilst kicking the remnants of poor Legsko out of the horn ring.
Always with the kicking.
Always with the kicking.
We're outlaws. That's what's going to happen.
Uh-huh. It was always going to be this way.
It's a bit predictable, given how we've been playing so far.
The victors are parading around the town, triumphant, yelling and screaming. There are whoops and applause. The name is chanted: Finnbogi, Finnbogi, Finnbogi. It echoes through the town square while you look on, presumably dejected. The law speaker comes over to you and says, "Unfortunate, my friends, unfortunate. Having been eliminated, I am afraid that you must pay the Holm ransom of 3 crowns to the victors. You must pay up immediately."
Well,
yeah.
Let me
Have
check.
you got the means to pay, my friends?
I don't know yet.
We're working on it. Just give us a moment.
It's a simple calculation of coin.
In the tradition of
yes.
the barn is empty of the horse already, perhaps we should have negotiated with him up front. He might have taken less.
Far too late for that. So the list price of my revolver is 3 crowns. How much would it be worth in this instance?
Okay.
Finnbogi strides over to you and puts his arms around you and says, my friends, I will not take everything of your worldly possessions. Let me do this. Give me your pistol, give me your firecracker, and I will take the remnants of your shattered friend and hang him on my wall. Then you two may go about whatever infernal business you Alpha get up to, but I suggest you do it far from my town, lest the stench of the wolf dropping cast about you and you be declared outlaw.
Well, I don't see we have much choice.
No,
what do you think there? I mean, the droid's cut in half. What's he going to do? Blow up on us now? I don't think so. And in some ways, this is our most successful mission yet.
Neither of us died.
Yes.
Actually, half as many casualties as last time.
And so the title of this adventure, the first in the Thought and Memory saga, is Nobody Dies in Help Makar. And you very successfully proved it wrong by losing one player character. Losing one player character every time we turn up to record.
Oh, my word.
So, on that grim note, we will say farewell to Ed. Rest assured that instead of shining brightly, carried by the Valkyries to Valhalla, you will now adorn someone's mantelpiece.
Sorry,
Who knows where on the wall I'm hanging, or what I'm being used for.
Maybe the wall in the sex dungeon.
Hung waist high.
The Vikings and Valkyries podcast is hammered together by a dedicated team of Skalds and Smiths. Joining us this week was S.J. Medill, a prolific author of science fiction and fantasy with over a dozen books across 3 series. Find links to these works of myth and legend in the show notes. In the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, and sacrifice to the old gods.